The Texas Rangers sweep the Chicago White Sox. It's their first sweep since they swept, the White Sox. It's a fun way to get the end of this last month started, though. We'll talk about it all. And also, how about Corey Seager making a little history? We've got that coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast post-game edition. Historic day by Corey Seager, and the player of the game was not Corey Seager. Hi, welcome into our DLLS studios. John Radigan here with Abby Jones and the star of the show, Jeff Wilson.
That's right.
It's our very first Rangers podcast post-game edition. In fact, it's the first post-game show of any team on DLLS, so we're awfully glad to be a part of that, and we're glad to be talking about not only a win, but a sweep.
Sweep, baby. Get out the broom.
Abby, you can only play the teams they put in front of you, and the Rangers have had two sweeps lately. They've both been against the White Sox. We'll take it.
We will take it. As my pop says, play hard, have fun. That is what the Rangers did. Rangers are so back. I agree with you, Ben.
Well, the White Sox are horrible, and the Rangers didn't exactly hit the cover off the ball. Let's not act like it's kind of like in July.
Full, half empty.
But it's nice to win games, and in my drive for fight for 81 or whatever I called it, this is going to help.
Yes, this helps. Yeah, absolutely. So much to talk about in this one. We've got our notes and so forth on here. I've got my scorebook, so we'll be keeping you updated and telling you everything that was good and bad. There wasn't that much bad in this game, but we'll tell you all about it as we continue on this post-game show. Eric, we appreciate you coming in and chatting with us. Anybody who wants to do that can do the same thing. Just send us a little note as we're chatting along about this game. Tell us what you want to talk about. We also ask that you like and subscribe to us because this is just the very beginning. We'll be doing this for the next month, basically. We've got 1 month left in the Rangers season. We'll be on all off season 5 days a week, and then coming next season, every time there's a game, we're out here talking Rangers baseball. So it's a really cool new opportunity for you to participate with us in the talk about this Texas Rangers team. And the talk of the day has to be, Jeff, Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, he was terrific. Struck out 10, 1 hit and 7 scoreless innings. So pitching, he still has the innings deal in the contract clause. To make the player option vest, but it's still a player option. So one of the storylines this next month and going into the off season when we're doing 5 shows a week, I would imagine that we'll be talking about Nathan Eovaldi at least 3 of those days a week. This is a critical piece for next season. The Rangers need to re-sign him. He wants to stay. His family lives in the Houston area, just southern Houston. He's from Alvin, second best pitcher ever from Alvin, Texas, and he will be a coveted free agent if he opts for free agency. And the Rangers need to sign him. He's the number one priority. He's Bruce Bochy's number one priority. I believe he's Chris Young's number one priority. The ownership group number one priority is a TV contract, though. We all know that Ray Davis could probably empty out his pockets and be able to sign Nathan Eovaldi to whatever he wants. So that's job number one. And you saw today why. When Nathan Eovaldi's healthy, he's terrific.
It was a masterclass today.
He's terrific. He can strike guys out. He can get the ball on the ground. He can go deep into games, and that's something the Rangers haven't had this year. So if you got it, if possession is 9/10 of the law, go ahead and get him signed up.
Let's talk about why Eovaldi was so spot on today. His fastball has been having so much success this season. Get this, opposing batters have the lowest average on that pinch since, guess when?
I don't know when.
His rookie year,
Oh, really?
2011.
Wow.
That year, they were hitting 185. This year, they're barely hitting 200. That fastball worked today for him. 10 strikeouts. He matches his career high from, again, the White Sox, and he was dealing today.
More White Sox.
Yeah, take a look at this combined in.
Yeah, 2 against the White Sox. Those are the 2 games. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, but today, I mean, 10 strikeouts, 6 of them came from that fastball, 1 from the cutter, and 3 from a curveball. So Nasty Nate was feeling himself.
What was great is that fastball was hitting 96, 97, right? I mean,
even in the last inning.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a
even
lot
in his
left
last
the
inning,
tank.
he was up there flirting with 97 miles an hour with that fastball, and he's got that great movement. He'll throw that thing high and away to a right-handed batter, and it'll just barely duck back into the strike zone in that corner up there. It's a great pitch.
Yeah, and Greg Maddux was kind of the master of that pitch, the pitch that runs back over on especially on left-handed hitters for Maddux. But what a and really his best pitch is the split finger, and so to not get any strikeouts on that, kind of tells you how many pitches he has. And that he doesn't just rely on more than 1 or 2. He can get you out in a variety of ways.
Yeah, he really can.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Also, lovely to see that he had only 1 walk in the game, too. So he had good control and good command of his pitches. It's great, too, on the day after a doubleheader when you always know the whole pitching rotation, the whole, pitching staff is in chaos, that he goes 7 innings. And all they needed were David Robertson and Kirby Yates to finish the game.
Yeah, you're right. And it just resets everything. The Rangers don't have an off day for a while. So you need days like this when your starter just does his job. I mean, this 7 innings used to be kind of the norm. If Colby Lewis always said, my job is to go 7 innings. And if he didn't go 7, he was not happy. So that's been lost in the recent transformation of the game and the emphasis placed on bullpens. But for a guy old school like Nathan to do it, like you said, with the A's coming this weekend, then the then the Yankees coming, and then the Angels before the next off day. That's like 9 in a row, 9 or 10 in a row.
10.
You need you need a couple of these during that stretch just to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and you got that today from him, and you got home run number 200 of his career from one Corey Seager. 30th bomb of the year for Corey, and he is the only left-handed shortstop ever to hit 200 home runs in a career. It's really fun. We were talking about it before the game, Abby. We felt like this was the day that Corey Seager was going to have his day. He did in his first. Was it his first at bat? I think it was. No, it was his second at bat. Yeah, second at bat.
In the 4th inning, the Rangers didn't have any hits their first time through the order.
That's right. So
Seager was due for it. He was 6 for 10 in yesterday's games, and he's been hitting .333 over the last 10 games.
Yeah, and you saw where he ranks on. Yeah, you saw where he ranks on the list in the top 10 among shortstops as far as home runs go. He's about 153, Jeff, shy of the top spot, right? So, Cal Ripken Jr.'s at 353.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of home runs yet to hit, but he's got a lot of years left.
He does. I mean, this is the 3rd year of a 10-year deal.
Right.
He's got 7 years left. He's 30 years old. He's going to continue to play. These are his prime years right here, 28, 29, 30. A few more after that. I don't see anything that's going to slow him down offensively other than injuries, which always seem to get him. But, you're talking 7 years, 7 into 150. What is that? That's 20-something a year.
Yeah.
So you think that Corey Seager has that, and if he continues to play after the end of his contract, you'd think that he will do that. Now, the question is, will he be a shortstop later in his contract? And so if he is, hey, you're gonna see the all-time leader in home runs by shortstop. I mean, the guy's an offensive machine.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable.
But let's talk about this too, because this is his third season with 30 or more home runs. All of them have been for the Rangers, so it's really been 3 years in a row now. And get this, he joins Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani as the only players with 30 or more home runs in the last 3 consecutive seasons. So, I mean,
Pretty
Seager,
good company.
yeah, and we were talking about this. He has his regimen of what he does for the games, and it works for Seager. He's clearly a machine. You're not going to look at Corey Seager and try to change one thing that he does, but it was working for Seager. That one pitch in particular that was his home run, 113 miles an hour off of the bat. That was, I mean, a no doubter, 406 feet out. So.
It's amazing because you alluded to it. You mentioned it, the fact that, he basically goes back to square one with his swing every day.
Mechanics,
and
yeah.
in his first season here, all of us that are in the tunnel and in the clubhouse, going to the clubhouse, see it every single day. And we're just like, wow, this guy does the same thing every single day. And he's not with his teammates at batting practice. That was curious, but it's because he is so meticulous about what he is doing with his swing and trying to replicate and duplicate it every day. So it's the exact same swing day in and day out. And that is how you achieve the level of consistency that Corey Seager has had. 3 straight years of 30 home runs. And really, there's never, you go all the way back to his Dodgers days. He's always been this type of hitter.
Home run machine.
Yeah, and you talk about his deal with the video camera, and it's spring training that very first year. He would do it kind of, the complex, the courtyard out there, and the meeting rooms are out the courtyard, and he would be doing it out there, and we'd walk by, he'd stop.
Yeah.
Like, also it was kind of a secret.
Yes.
And, he doesn't want anybody to know what's going on. But I believe his hitting guy is Sean Wooten, the former major leaguer. Not a great hitter, but somebody who he trusts. And, look, if you can get Corey Seager, and you can have him getting help, he pays for his own help. It's not something coming out of the club. They've got enough hitting coaches. Then and he can get maintenance and help from one of the Rangers' 3 hitting coaches. It's gonna work out. And if getting a talent like Corey Seager means he gets to do his own little thing, so be it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's really fun to watch, especially when you see the results. The results speak for themselves, and it's a glimpse that most of you won't ever get, but we see it down there, and it truly is mind-boggling to watch him do it every day, because he sets up a tripod and he sets up all the things that he needs to do, and he is talking, he's got his earbuds in and he's talking, and you just you watch it, and you're right, he was real secretive about it in the past. Nowadays, if we walk by, he continues the process. He doesn't want to let anything distract him from it, and I think that's a good play too.
Sure, and I think initially there were some players who weren't quite sure about it.
Right.
He doesn't spend a ton of time in the clubhouse necessarily. I think he's improved on that. I think there were a couple things written about him and said about him that first season, and last year he became more participatory, maybe in the clubhouse. But then you saw in the postseason when he hit those 2 big home runs, the one in Game 7 of the ALCS, the one in Game 1, or was it Game 7 of the ALCS, Game 1 of the World Series. The emotion that he let out,
personality came out.
You can tell that this is a guy who gets along with his teammates.
Yeah,
he's part of the team. He's into the movement. He's bought into everything that Bruce Bochy had brought. So it's he's quiet, he's reserved, but so am I.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we want you to be a part of this program, so let us know what you're thinking about this Rangers 2-1 victory over the Chicago White Sox today. Like and subscribe to the program. We'd really appreciate you doing that. Lots more to talk about in the course of this program. We're going to get to the upcoming homestand, which is the longest of the season. We're going to get to some of the other highlights from this game. There were some defensive highlights that we definitely want to talk about in this one. We'll also get to another milestone, if you will, as we talk about David Robertson and what he accomplished really yesterday, but we'll talk about it today. So that's all coming up as we continue with this post-game show. But right now, I would like to talk to you about the series, that upcoming series, because the Yankees are coming to town. And you know what that means? There will be a lot of people who are, there. And so tickets will be harder to come by. You're like,
And pricey.
how am I going to get tickets? Easy peasy. You're going to go to Game Time. Do you know about the Game Time app
I know
yet?
about Game Time.
You need to know about the Game Time app. As Jeff and I were talking about yesterday, back in our day, the only way to get tickets to that Yankees game, let's say, that you want to see this week, was to go find a scalper out on the street wearing a trench coat, right?
I've never
Which
even
is
heard of
illegal.
that.
By the way, that's illegal. I don't think people even do that anymore.
They
but
shouldn't.
they don't need to. It's
Yeah.
because they don't need to. Game Time is your place to get tickets right now. And that is what we encourage you to do. Abby's used it.
I have. I live kind of near downtown, and every now and again, I just hear a lot of rumbling outside, and I'm like, somebody, is it a concert? One time there was like a circus at the AAC.
Yeah.
The circus.
The circus.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Clowns.
I didn't go. But I did go to a Travis Scott concert for a relatively low price.
That's awesome. Well, you can get $20 off your first order with the code DLLS. Make sure that you do. Remember, terms do apply.
Oh yeah, and after a concert, how are you guys feeling normally?
Probably shouldn't drive.
Yeah.
Probably not okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have something that could help that.
Okay.
Z-Biotics. Have you ever heard of it?
You introduced us to it yesterday, and I'm intrigued.
It's a pre-drinking product. So the key is to not pick and choose if you want to have a good night or have a good day the next day. You can now do both with Z-Biotics.
Nice.
So you take it before, and it's kind of like a little magic trick up its sleeve because it is the world's first pre-alcoholic probiotic. It's genetically engineered. It was invented by a PhD scientist who's obviously a lot smarter than I am to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxin and byproduct in the gut. It's in this byproduct that you're not dehydrated, and that's why you wake up kind of feeling not great. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break down this byproduct, so you really bypass that whole situation. So if you have like a wedding coming up or a really fun game, I mean, we, watch games a lot.
Yeah.
You might need one. So, all of the little warnings here, but go to zbiotics.com/DLLS Rangers to get 15% off your first order when you use DLLS Rangers. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/DLLS Rangers. Check out for 15%.
Probably good for a wedding or a divorce.
That's right.
Either
one. Either one.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. So let's talk a little more about this game. Rangers beat the White Sox today 2-1. They sweep the series from the White Sox
About
3
time.
games to none. And they sweep the season series from the White Sox 7 games to none. So like a lot of teams this season, the Rangers own the White Sox. The White Sox lose their 104th game. They're a historically bad baseball team. There's a chance, Abby. You've looked this up. There's a chance they'll be worse than the 62 Mets.
They are on pace to lose 125 games.
Oh,
they,
good night.
They might need a few Z-Biotics just to make it through and, bear with it.
Yeah,
lots to talk about from the game, as well as Corey Seager, who we already mentioned, as well as Nathan Eovaldi, who we already mentioned. There was some really good defense played in this game. And one of those plays, Jeff, was authored late in the game by the aforementioned Corey Seager from his butt.
Yeah, kind of what we were talking about yesterday when Michael Young giving his opinion about, how Corey Seager is just a great shortstop because he makes the plays he's supposed to make. You don't need shortstops. You don't see him anymore going wildly up the middle like Ozzie Smith used to or Derek Jeter in the hole. You see it occasionally, but it's not like every day. It's a couple times a season, if that. This one, he was going, I think, to cover the base. He slipped, caught the ball, threw it from his butt, and Nicky Lopez isn't slow.
No.
I think that's who he got. So, it was an entertaining play, but it was a big out because there was a runner at, I think, at third, and
There was,
a run would have scored.
It was the third out of the 8th inning. So, yeah, it was
Brad's
it
going
was
to the
big. And it
scoreboard.
was Nicky Lopez. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can check all that stuff right here in the
Oh,
scoreboard.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love
Yeah,
it.
so,
I'm bringing mine next.
Good.
Mike Maddox, every pitching coach, every manager wants his pitcher to pitch to contact, and when you do it, you got to have guys that catch it and throw it. And sometimes it's a little unorthodox, but the play got made, and it allowed the Rangers to win 2-1.
Yeah, in the 5th inning of this game, defensively anyway, Well, it belonged to Josh Young. What an
geez.
inning
for
it
sure.
was. He starts a 5-4-3 double play, and like it was the easiest 5-4-3 I've ever seen. I mean, like he beat the runner, they beat the runner at first by 14 steps.
Yeah.
And then after that, I mean, Josh made maybe the play of the game on Sosa. It was just a great play where he had to go basically into foul territory.
Right.
And
that's a backhanded play too. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
You got to pop up to your feet, make a longer throw than already the long throw at third base, and he got him pretty easily.
And when it's a slow start to offense, like it was, and there were just some guys that just had off days, how important are those defensive plays? And not only, Nathan Eovaldi's
and for guys who are in a slump, to not carry over at bats into the field and to have that affect them that way, separate the two. There's always a way to help your team. You can always, hustle, make a defensive play, whatever it is. And, the Rangers have to win close games these days and low scoring games. All three of their wins here the last 2 days against the White Sox were incredibly low scoring. So, if you can save a run, keep a run out of scoring position, keep a pitcher's pitch count down with a great play, you got to do it. Yeah,
we heard Dave Raymond on the broadcast talking about how he chatted with the White Sox people, the broadcasters from the White Sox organization, and they were kind of musing about how the Rangers haven't dominated the White Sox in any of the 7 games. Really, they had one game in that first 4-game sweep where they were bombing offensively, but 6 of the 7 games were close games, like today's 2-1 outcome, or like the 3-1 game in Game 1 yesterday. So anyway, those guys were saying it's kind of how the White Sox have been. They're close, but they can't win. You know how you win those games? Defense, a lot of times.
Yeah,
obviously timely hitting, which they also demonstrated last night. But if you get defense and timely hitting, you are in a great position to win those close games. The Rangers have done that against a team that admittedly is not very good. But, what the heck? There's Ben, Colin, checking back in with us, and we appreciate you, Ben. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah, there is some breaking news here that ESPN's reporting that the Rangers have put Robbie Grossman and Travis Jankowski, last night's here, on waivers. A potentially procedural move here. If they don't get claimed, they can be released, or the Rangers can keep them. But this gives them an opportunity, gives the Rangers an opportunity to clear up some 40-man spots, maybe for some players who are in the minor leagues and they want to take a look at. But it also, if it's done by Saturday night at 11:59 p.m., Robbie and Travis have become eligible for the postseason with their new team. So, it doesn't. It's a kind of a crummy part of the business right now, because the Angels really are the ones who turned baseball on their heads, on their heels, whatever, last year when they did it to really affected pennant races with some frontline players they did it with. And, you have 2 veteran guys who aren't playing a lot. They do contribute when they play. Grossman is batting around 300 against lefties, which is he was brought in to do. Travis, of course, with his great play last night.
Yeah.
It's hard to not give him a 1 in the WAR column for that one. But it's crummy, but it's just kind of business. This is the game these days, and this is where the Rangers are right now. And there are guys who are not on the 40-man roster who they probably want to look at. I wholeheartedly believe that Blaine Krim, who's been at AAA the last 2 years, since the start of July, he's batting .368. He took Yamamoto deep last night. He had 2 home runs last night. If first base is going to be a question mark entering the offseason, Blaine Krim needs to get some at-bats in the major leagues. I don't think Kumar Rocker should be brought to the major leagues.
But maybe this opens the door for it.
This opens a roster spot for him. And Emiliano Teodo, who's been at AA all year, and it was the, I don't know if he was the MVP of the Futures game. He might have been, but he
was the starter.
He kicked butt with 2 scoreless perfect innings, and maybe he needs to go on the 40-man because he's Rule 5 eligible after the year. So maybe he gets a call-up. So there are guys that they probably want to look at. To do so, they need to free up some 40-man spots, and this is an unfortunate way to do it. But I'm not surprised by Grossman. I'm a little surprised by Jankowski.
Me too.
Yeah,
just because of how much the young players like Carter last year and Langford this year have leaned on him to get his pick his brain, get his experience,
And
kind of be a model citizen, how to
Yeah.
get ready for games and always stay ready. So two good guys. You hope that whatever unfolds is what's best for them.
Well, and it's funny, we talked in the pregame edition of this Rangers podcast about the great catch that was made yesterday by Jankowski, and then one of our great viewers, and we appreciate you noting with us down here and letting us know what you think, reminded us of that Evan Carter catch at Minute Maid last year in Game 1. We think it might have been Game 2. I think it was Game 1, because he told the story of how before the game he'd never played there. And before the game, two guys were out there telling him
I think
how it was
Jankowski.
Travis Jankowski and Robbie Grossman.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Okay.
That was the two guys
Yeah,
who
no,
were
I
out there
remember that
teaching
story
him
too.
that this is how you play this well.
Yeah.
As Jeff mentioned, he didn't play it necessarily perfectly, but he played it well enough for that to be a significant play.
It was
Game
1.
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was Game 1.
And early in that game, there was a double to left field that was down the line. I think Bregman hit it, that Evan Carter looked unsure.
Yes.
I remember that.
Left field there is such BS. You know,
it is. It's a
the nooks and
ridiculous
crannies.
left field. It's a great stadium and a terrible left field. But all he had was the instruction from those two veterans. And the reality is, forever, every player is exposed to waivers after the trade deadline. But this is a different animal, likely. I mean, likely, this is a different animal. This is but you know what? Look at the upside for both the team and the players. The players have a chance to catch on with the team that's headed to the postseason, and the team, the Texas Rangers, has a chance to look at a few more players. It's not something they would do if they were still right there a game and a half or 2.5 or 3 games out of first place with a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
But it is something they can do. It's almost like this is the equivalent at this point in the season of being a seller instead of a buyer.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. And again, baseball's a business.
It is.
It can be a cruel business. The hero 1 night on waivers the next.
Yeah.
Yerson Garabito last week on Sunday, he pitches his tail off and helps the Rangers come back to beat the Twins. The next day is his birthday. He gets optioned to AAA. So it can be stinky.
It is what it is. Yeah.
If the Astros lose tonight, the Rangers are 8 games back with a month to go. Probably still
it's not
impossible. Too much, not
No.
impossible. You need a lot of help. You still have to pass the Mariners. The schedule does turn favorable for the Rangers at this point once you get the Yankees off the schedule. But you're hedging your bet, I guess, is kind of the best way to say it. And again, with the TV contract uncertainty, if you can look at guys who are going to be making the league minimum, and if they can fill roster spots next year, it saves you some money.
And Robbie Grossman started his season with the White Sox. So
Yeah, how
I'm
about
pretty
that?
sure he's just happy to be anywhere but there right now.
He knows at what stage he is in his career. I heard him talking about starting with the White Sox, and really praised them, and rightly so. He got an opportunity because of them for this season.
Well, and I would say this, the Grossman and Jankowski didn't just find out about it on Twitter.
No.
Chris Young is a former player, and so he believes, all GMs do, but Chris Young especially believes to the utmost that the player needs to know before anybody else. And so I'm sure that they've known maybe a couple days. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Really. They were given a heads up, hey, this is what we're going to do. This might be the timing of it. And if that's the case, and Jankowski still went out there and made a hell of a play, then maybe he was showcasing himself.
Showcasing himself. And Abby and I, before you got here, Jeff, I mentioned to Abby, Grossman's a candidate for this type of thing, and I didn't, like you, I didn't think Travis would be, but there you go. I mean, they're candidates.
At this point, contenders are looking for missing pieces that'll help him in the postseason. And a defensive replacement will help you in the postseason. A specialty bat off the bench who knows how to come off the bench will help you in the postseason. A pinch runner like Jankowski. Those are championship pieces. Mm-hmm. And you look at what Jankowski did. Look at what Jankowski did last year in the postseason.
Right. Yeah.
In the World Series, the 2 games, the Rangers, the last 2 wins, he steps in for Adolis Garcia and contributed heavily to the Game 4 victory.
Yeah.
So
they're on the road, the Rangers are, to the end of the season. And hopefully we can still cross our fingers that they'll get to those 81 wins that Jeff talked about and finish very strong, maybe with some more young players in there. Talk more about that. We'll talk more about the upcoming 10-game homestand coming up. But first, we want to tell you about Rugged Road. Are you familiar with the brand new cooler Rugged Road? If you've seen the wider shots of our studio, we've got one sitting in here, and it's like all of your great thick insulated coolers, right? Except
It's good for the ballpark.
it's lighter.
Yeah.
It's so light. You could carry it with one hand, whereas most of those that are really thick and hold the ice for 7 days and all that kind of thing, they're really heavy. This Rugged Road is beautiful inside and outside. There's compartments inside. There's a little water bottle inside. You got to keep stuff cold for a week. It's light. It floats.
Did you say it's lighter?
Lighter. That was a tease.
L-A-I-T or
L-A-I-T-E-R.
Yeah.
It's a great cooler. It's a new product, and we want you to make sure you have an opportunity to get one of these Rugged Road products, because there you see a picture of it. That's exactly the one that we have here in the studio, and I'm
looking
it's
live
on my
at it.
list. I mean, I don't think I can take this one, but it's on my list. It's
we
a
won't
great
tell
cooler.
anybody.
And, thank you. And because I hate carrying the heavy cooler around, and
Probably get it out of here tonight.
not a huge fan of the wheeled cooler.
Yeah, I think
so
we're the last show.
get yourself a Rugged Road cooler. You've got a promo code DLLS for 10% off your Rugged Road cooler.
So if you're taking a Rugged Road cooler out to float the river or to fish or whatever, go to the ballpark and watch your kids, you know what you need?
Tell me.
A pair of Shady Ray sunglasses.
Ooh, do you?
Yeah. You gotta protect the eyes as much when you're damaging your liver. You need to protect the eyes. So, get ready for the season ahead. It's always sunny here, like 300 days a year. It's sunny. You need shades that are built to last, and our friends at Shady Rays, they have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank or break. Now, I've looked at these. They come in a variety of colors and styles, and they even come in prescription, and that's big for me because I can't do contacts. So prescription glasses, they have those. Hundreds of styles, literally hundreds of styles. Abby and I have looked at them. You're bound to find your perfect pair, and you can even get them in your favorite team colors. Abby's trying to talk me into some
Powder
baby blues
blues
to wear for Sundays, Sunday home games. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a really good discount code. If you type in DLLS, you get 35% off polarized sunglasses. Go ahead, try for yourself. Rated 5 stars by over 300,000 happy customers. So get you some Shady Rays.
I heard we're getting a pair.
Yes, I heard that too, and I'm excited.
I need to get in my prescription though.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I
we'll
gotta
figure
get
out
in
a
my
way to
life.
do that. I was shopping earlier. You're right. There's some really cool looking sunglasses.
You've got to do powder blue.
Yeah, will, and we'll all be sporting them very soon. So we'll be able
Maybe
to
we get matching
be really
sunglasses.
testifying to the greatness of Shady Rays. More on the game. The Rangers win 2-1. Let us know what you think about the victory. Do you think that the Rangers do have a chance to get back into the playoff race? Is that 81 win goal that we've sort of loosely set, is that even possible? Is it achievable? Let us know what you think, and like us too, please, and subscribe, because we're just out here having fun talking Rangers with you. And one of the other notes from the game, David Robertson pitched the game.
I was about to say, are we going to ever get to
we
this
gotta
accomplishment?
Get to David.
I have been
gotta
waiting
get to
for
David.
it.
So he pitched the game today. The milestone for him was last night, and he passed his former teammate. How about that? He passed Mariano Rivera last night, and that was significant to him. Now, he's not going to pass Mariano Rivera in a whole lot of categories, but he passed him in strikeouts. He absolutely did, and it meant a lot to him. And if you look at those numbers, by the way, he's only 5 out of the next spot, and he could get to, obviously get to the top 10, even the top 9 in the course of this season. It would be possible. Do you stretch, but it'd be possible.
Well, it's pretty interesting as I look at this list. Lindy McDaniel's an old time reliever, and I actually have his 1960 Topps card on my desk for whatever reason. I have it. He pitched for the Cardinals, and anyway, I have it on my desk. But You've heard, obviously, Mariano Rivera, the only guy to ever go into the Hall of Fame on 100% of the ballots. Francisco Rodriguez, who is Hall of Fame eligible. I vote for him because I think he's 4th all-time in saves. And then Jesse Orosco, who I believe appeared in more games than anybody in baseball history. I could have that wrong, but Mets reliever, was on the 86 Mets. I think he got the last out of that World Series. So excellent company he's in, and really Francisco Rodriguez is easily attainable here in the next
Very
week.
soon.
Really.
For sure.
And Lindy might be a little bit too far away for this year, but
Yeah.
you know, David, who's on the older side, he's on the downhill side of his career, although he's still pitching terrifically. He said he's going to keep pitching until somebody tells him he can't pitch
That's
anymore.
great.
So
Yeah.
a good guy. He's from Alabama, went to the University of Alabama. I mean, he grew up in
Good old
Tuscaloosa,
Alabama boy.
went to the
My neck of
University
the
of
woods.
Alabama. He lives in Rhode Island now, which is kind of interesting. But he's just a hoot. He has fun playing the game.
He does.
You can really tell
It's infectious.
he
too.
has some bounce when he comes off the field, especially after a good inning. He's not afraid to show some emotion out there, and he gets big outs. I mean, without Robertson and Kirby Yates and Josh Smith, the Rangers might be down there with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Not that bad, obviously.
No, they wouldn't be that bad.
But they would not be in the position they are right
No
now.
doubt.
And so a great achievement for him. And obviously, the 2009 Yankees was early in Robertson's career. He was on that team. They won the World Series with Rivera as the Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
And then for it to happen in Chicago is pretty cool because David spent a lot of time with the White Sox, and I think his only All-Star appearance he was with the White Sox. So good for him.
Speaking of old-time relievers, I should say, you know who's number 1 on the list of strikeouts by reliever?
Raleigh Fingers.
Close. Hoyt Wilhelm.
Sure,
Yeah.
knuckleballer.
Hoyt
Yeah.
Wilhelm. Then Goose Gossage.
Okay.
And then Craig Kimbrell. And then Aroldis
Old
Chapman.
friend, Aroldis.
Yep.
So
Lee
two-
Smith. Kenley Jansen. Billy Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raleigh Fingers.
Okay. So three of them are still active.
Yep.
Wagner, this is going to be his last year on the ballot. And I also vote for him.
Do you? You should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at his
Yeah.
numbers, they're just
Yeah.
phenomenal. And you know, this is me on my soapbox. Baseball created the closer.
Yeah.
The closer is so important to the game, and yet there's only less than a handful. I mean, I have 3 or 4 who are in the Hall of Fame, and for a specialized position, guys who make so much money and guys who take a lot of crap if something goes bad, then they absolutely need to be more of them in the Hall of Fame. And I kind of feel the same way about DH. Anyway, we'll see about that. And Tyler, who's a loyal follower of mine, appreciate him out in Abilene, I believe it is. What are the odds that Mark Church, speaking of relievers, gets a look this year? You know, Mark, I thought, should have made the opening day roster. He was so good in spring training for the second straight year. Had a lat injury or oblique, something in there that's attached to the shoulder. Cost him some months, not a few weeks. It cost him months. Came back. He's pitching again at Round Rock. He's pitching like every third day, though. But he is on the 40-man roster, and you always take an extra pitcher in September, and it looks like it is going to be Jack Leiter, but that doesn't mean that the Rangers can't move somebody else out. They have some optionable guys if they want to take a look. So you hope so. But again, it looks like they're kind of building them up. So I'm a little, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That's a good question, though,
Yeah.
Tyler. We appreciate it. And Ben is asking about Leiter's pitching performance yesterday. That's a good one. That's a good question because
We talked about it.
we did on the
in
pregame, but
show.
you know, we appreciate you, Ben, and it is it's worthy.
It's worth
It's
mentioning
Absolutely,
again,
that's
to be
right.
honest.
It was better. He was better. You need to consider the level of competition, I think. What does that look like against a really good team? But you can say that about Eovaldi today. you really could.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, we talked about the playoffs the other day, the playoff picture, and how the Central's so tight.
Mhm.
I do wonder though. They get to play the White Sox 13 times. How padded are their
Heck
records?
of a point.
Oh, for sure.
How good are they
Yeah.
going to be in the postseason? I think
Maybe they're not all that.
I think the Guardians are good.
Yeah.
Royals are hit and run. Ralph is asking which position players could be called up in September. I kind of ran it down. I think Blaine Krim is a guy. Sam Huff's on the 40. You know, if you want to get another catcher up here, But again, you can't just go crazy. You got to be very selective.
I think, and again, if you missed it earlier in this program, we've announced that, the news is that Travis Jankowski and Robbie Grossman have been exposed to waivers, and therefore, there are some options there to where the 2 call-ups. You only get 2 call-ups now on September 1st. Those 2 basically could become 4 if those guys are waived. After this waiver process.
Right, and then the 2, one has to be a pitcher, one has to be a position player. So if you have 4 and you get some more flexibility with what you can do. And I'm team Blaine Krim. I always have been. He's a good guy.
And that would also provide, possibly, as we alluded to earlier, an opportunity for Kumar Rocker to come up. So let's talk a little bit about Kumar. Another guy we absolutely should talk about almost every day, the way he's pitching. The things he did, first of all, at AA were ridiculous, where he bullied people. You thought, well, he's taking a step up to AAA now, right? And he did. Last night, pitched his first AAA game. Oh, my goodness. He bullied them, Abby.
He did. It was a lights-out AAA debut. I think we've got a graphic for you guys. Elijah, if we can get that going. But, yeah, let's talk about it because, he's known as a strikeout guy. He did just that. 5 innings pitched, no earned runs, 1 hit, no walks. That's really the important part. 10 strikeouts. Get this, he retired 15 of 16 hitters that he faced. 7 of the strikeouts were swinging.
Yeah, and the no walks thing, we didn't mention this in the pregame show. One of the massive differences between AA and AAA is the automated strike zone, or now the challenge system. Yeah. So I have heard that at AA, the umpires, the way they're graded in the Texas League, is they err on the side of having a small strike zone. So, how would that affect Kumar Rocker? How would it affect the challenge system? And if he didn't walk anybody, he seemed to handle that all right. He seemed to have dominant stuff and could command the strike zone. So good on him. The challenge system's fantastic. I don't know if you guys seen it. They just touch their hat, and then the umpire does something, and they show it on they'll show it on the scoreboard what it is. And sometimes it's the smallest margin that it's on the corner or off the corner, and that's it. But it is it's pretty cool, and I think that Major League Baseball 100% needs it. At this rate, they would probably, the way umpiring is going these days, they'd be using up all their challenges in the first inning. But
I feel like in particular with Wyatt Langford's at bats, but you got to
figure out a way to be strategic with it so you don't use them up. But anyway, so Kumar tackled that too, and it's tripped up guys. There's no doubt about it. I think Owen White got tripped up by it. I think that Cole Winn has been tripped up by it, and potentially even Jack Leiter. But for Kumar to make that transition seamlessly, that's part of it. That's just one element that was part of it that made it so impressive.
And Bruce Bochy said, when we talked to him pre-games, that he's just a completely different player than he was with spring training. And we've talked about this. It seems that pitchers are just going to get hurt nowadays, and it's not even if, it's when. And at times it's 2 times they're going to face something as serious as this in their career with the way that the game's going. So for him to have this time to go through this process and then recover at this level, it seems like everyone comes back stronger from this injury. This is kind of what you're seeing with Kumar Rocker. It's going to be a really exciting 2025 for the Vandy boys and the Texas Rangers.
It is, but it does beg the question. And do you even want Rocker brought up at this point if there are those 4 spots? I don't think there's any chance. If there's only 2 spots, I think it's going to be Leiter and a position player. If there are 4 spots, that would likely open the door for Rocker and another position player, although they wouldn't have to do a pitcher in that case. But do you want Rocker up here? They only want him to throw 50 innings this year after the surgery. I think he's at 31 right now. So, do you want him?
Yeah, it's a tough call, and you still, even if they make these moves and the 2 spots open, you still can only have the equal number of pitchers and position players. That's so. Right. You're getting 2 more pitchers. There are guys who can be optioned. Walter Pennington, who's done a great job, but he knows the risks that come with having a being on the 40-man roster and having options. Not as many on the position player side. So, but you know, I don't know that Kumar Rocker needs to pitch in the major leagues this year. You know, it kind of points I think we've touched on previously. You bring him up. He's got his adrenaline going. He's going to maybe be throwing harder or trying more, just whatever, even if he isn't mindful of it. And this is a guy who, again, is coming off of Tommy John surgery, who from since 2001 has had injuries hanging over him. You know, Bruce Bochy said he could tell last spring that Kumar Rocker was pitching hurt, you know, and he was hurt, and it went out on the elbow went out on him. But for him to have the peace of mind now, don't risk it. You know, there's no rush. Maybe if now look, if in the last 2 weeks the Rangers get within 2 or 3 games, then maybe. Yeah. But right now, I don't think it's in the plans.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots more to talk about as we talk about the homestand, the upcoming homestand, and some pretty good opponents on that homestand. So we'll get to that. But first, Abby wants you to join us.
I do. We are, a part of a very brand new thing here at Dallas. It's DLLS Rangers podcast. Seems like you guys enjoy hanging out with us. I know that we enjoy hanging out with you, and so do our other hosts here on the other podcasts. We cover the Cowboys, the Mavericks, the Rangers like we're doing, the Stars, and then this guy to my right on his phone is going to be covering TCU.
I am.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we got an SMU shirt out there now.
We do. So tons to come. The wings are going to be happening here soon, I think. So we want you to join us. Become a diehard. Apparently, you get a really cool shirt, and it's like half the price of the membership. So it's kind of like you're not making money, but
you're almost paying for it.
You're almost paying. We're almost paying you in a way. And the shirts are really, really cool. I've picked out a few that I like, but it's just become a diehard. You're going to get exclusive content. He's going to have some insane pieces coming to you that you don't want to miss. He's our baseball guru. Me and Rads were talking about it. You're like a baseball encyclopedia.
Well, I think I'm a Rangers encyclopedia. I don't don't ask me any questions about National League teams, please. I might get in trouble. But if you're going to become a diehard, you got to get the shirt. You got to be our walking, talking billboards for us. And if you want more than one shirt, or if you want to take a look at what shirt you might want when you get your diehard, store.allcitynetwork.com. It's the website. It's the place to go. It's where we have stuff for all 5 of our All-City network markets. Denver, Phoenix, Philly, Chicago also around. I made my first order yesterday.
Oh, you made it?
You did?
I did make a purchase.
You didn't let me know we were going to get matching shirts.
Well, I can let you know now.
Okay.
I did buy the TCU. I did buy the TCU shirt.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
To wear. And
you're representing.
That's my alma mater. So, and then I got the DLLS for the Love of Texas tee, and as I've mentioned, the Texas Chew tee because I like gum. Look, they're $34.99. Really high quality items. We've seen the people from Denver who are down here helping us launch wearing them. They look sharp. They're comfortable. And then there's more coming. There's sweatshirts, hats, and you can always give the gift that keeps on giving. Not the Jelly of the Month Club, but the gift card. And so you can do it for any denomination. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com to get your merch.
Yep. We want it. We want you to wear it, and that way we'll be able to know you and recognize you out on the street. A little more time here on the Rangers postgame show after the Rangers beat the White Sox today in the finale of the season series and the finale of this 3-game series in Chicago, disrupted by rain on Tuesday night, game 1 of the series. They actually went 4 pitches. It was one of the most ridiculous rainouts I've ever seen. But officially yesterday, they finished a suspended game, and then they played another. So it wasn't really...
they still had to get 20... Yeah, 27 out. Each team had to get 27 outs.
But technically, it wasn't a doubleheader, right?
It was the first game since 1913 to be suspended without either team recording an out.
Oh, wow, 1913.
Going on back.
Woodrow Wilson, I think, was president.
Was he? I know that's the year after Fenway Park and Tiger Stadium opened. They both opened in 1912.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah,
well, there you go.
I do. So, it's one fact I remember.
You remember that one?
I do.
So I told you yesterday when you read the game time ad that I was going to tell you my ticket scalping story.
Oh,
Yeah.
So in 1985, we lived in Denver. My dad was a Cardinals fan, and he said, "All right, if the Cardinals lose Game 5 of the World Series, we're driving to Kansas City." And so we picked up my sister at a toga party, Halloween toga party, and we were like, "Hey, are you in?" She said yes, and so we zipped overnight.
She wear the toga?
We brought her a change of clothes.
Okay.
And so we got to Kansas City right around sun up. Found a lousy hotel where we think the drug deals were going down, but we needed sleep. Ate a lot at Denny's. But anyway, so we go over to the ballpark before game 6, and we had to scalp tickets. And so we were walking around, and people were getting arrested, like you said. But if you had a souvenir cup with the tickets inside, if you were just selling the cup, you could get away with it. So that's how I got my ticket to Game 6 of the 1985 World Series. It's a very infamous game if you're a Cardinals fan.
Yeah.
Famous game overall because Don Dankinger blew the call at first base in the 9th inning. Jorge Orta, I think it was out by a full step with Todd Worrell covering. But if they get that out, then the Cardinals are the World Series champions. Jim Sundberg was on that team. The Rangers great was on the Royals team. So anyway, the Royals win, walk off. Next night, when we drive home, we're like, all right, we're out of here. We're not staying at the
flea bag,
the drug mansion.
Yeah.
So we went back to Denver, and the next night the Royals just destroyed Joaquin Andujar, and I think Brett Saberhagen pitched for the Royals, and it was a great win for them. It was their last World Series win until Chris Young helped them win it a few years ago. So that's my ticket scalping story. And anyway, my sister and dad got their own seats too, but we were all separate. I was 11, almost 12 at the time, and I was in the last row of the stadium, but I was behind home plate, so I could see the ball going over home plate, and I was surrounded by like a senior citizens home group of people, and they were so nice and
safe,
care of me.
very safe.
Like I stood up to leave, and like, where are you going? I was
Very
like, I'm
safe.
just gonna go to the bathroom.
Just going to get a beer.
You know how we were talking about Chris Young, like just being a player now, a GM, like he just thinks about so many things that other GMs wouldn't.
Right.
The ring day ceremony. So he actually was one of the first people in MLB history to do kind of what football does when you win the Super Bowl. It's like the ring ceremony party the night before with a dinner.
Yeah.
He said that he did that for the Rangers because he was a starting pitcher the day of his ring ceremony and he missed his. And so that's why he did that, because he didn't want anybody to miss out. And it's like,
that's pretty cool.
Who thinks of that unless you've been in that situation, you know? So shout out to Chris Young for that.
Yeah.
That
His
cool
attention to those type of details is unmatched and unparalleled in the game today. Back in the day, there were a lot more former players who were general managers.
Sure.
Tom Grieve, obviously, in our organization, and
Eddie Robinson,
many others. Yeah. But now there aren't as many. You know, most of them now are of the John Daniels pedigree, and we obviously have just a ton of respect for everything John did and everything that his ilk of general manager has done. The guys who come through Ivy League schools.
Theo Epstein was the first one.
And then they've all kind of followed suit.
Yeah, reversed the curse of the Bambino. Theo did, and John Daniels got the Rangers to their first World Series ever. So, and John remains a good friend of mine through just being a good guy, but also through Do It for Dirt. He's on the board with me, and I sent him a free. I don't know if I sent him a free. I sent him a free trial to be a diehard. So we'll see what happens.
We'll get him as a diehard.
Yeah.
We'll get him as a diehard. You know, the other thing I love that Chris Young did, and we got to get to the homestand. We will in a minute. And tell us what you think about the upcoming homestand, or Chris Young or John Daniels. But here's what I love that Chris Young did at the World Series parade last year. Speaking of John Daniels, Chris Young brought John Daniels' kids to the parade.
That's cool.
Those kids had been around, the game and the team forever. It meant as much to them as it did to any fan that the Rangers were winning the World Series, and they were on the float car, whatever it was, with Chris Young's family. I just think that's special.
Yeah. And JD remains a pretty good close confidant. Chris will bounce things off of him.
Yeah.
Chris will sound off. Probably going through some of the same issues that JD went through. So, that was a classy move, because if you look at the roster, Third base was drafted by by John Daniels.
JD.
Shortstop and second baseman was a tag team combo. Nathaniel Lowe came over in a trade that John Daniels orchestrated right before Chris Young was hired. Leody Taveras was signed by John Daniels.
Goalies Garcia.
Jonah Heim. You can go
whole list.
There's a whole list, and so for that's just really nice to recognize that Chris Young did not do it all himself, and a lot of the guys who are Chris Young's lieutenants in the front office are JD holdovers, if you will.
Yep, and very loyal, rightly loyal to him. The homestand starts tomorrow. There's no rest for the weary, at least not the weary Rangers right now. They've got the Oakland A's coming into town. You think, oh, good, that they're a lot like the White Sox. Not so much.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, not so much.
Last year.
Last year they were. But they are playing better, especially lately. So these are not gimme games. Then it's the Yankees who come in on Labor Day, and you've got that's the team that's just running away. Not really, but they're out in front in the American League East right now. They're very competitive East, and then you have the LA Angels coming in for a 4-game series. So a 10-game homestand, and really anytime the Yankees are here, I think it's kind of exciting, Abby.
Well, last time Aaron Judge did something pretty special around this time that year.
Yeah, because I think he was hurt last year when they came.
Yeah, he was.
But
I have a video still of 62 sitting in there. I wasn't even ashamed. I was like, this is history. I'm recording this.
Yeah.
But also, 14 games over the next 13 days. So the next time that the Rangers get an off day, and really we get an off day, is September 9th. So.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. Will we have a show that day? It's a Monday. I don't know. But anyway, then they go on the road to Arizona and Seattle, and what could be maybe it's a pivotal road trip.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I always look forward to seeing Ron Washington, my buddy.
Yeah.
4 days worth of wash is going to be great. He's just the same guy. It's just remarkable how consistent he is. Great, whatever you think of him and what he was as a manager, what he did, whatever happened. All right. He's a good man. He's a very good person.
Hilarious.
He always good with the media. Funny guy. Isn't afraid to speak his mind. He's had some classic lines this year with the Angels media. So they're in last place. Their first year with no Shohei Ohtani. They've had Mike Trout for 2 weeks,
if that.
A bunch of young guys. It's not dissimilar from his first season with the Rangers in 2007. So you hope that he gets a better shakeout next year. Perry Manassian, also with Rangers ties from being a clubby way back when.
Yeah.
He got extended. Chris Young has not been extended yet. That's another
question mark.
Failing of ownership. I think it's fair to say that at this point that's a failing. But the Bruce Bochy, Chris Young doesn't want to talk about it, but Bruce Bochy is very confident that it'll get done. So I wonder if they're a package deal. I don't know, but anyway,
that'd be nice.
Let's get that one done. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Angels.
Yeah, it'll be fun homestand, and obviously plenty of tickets left for most of those games because you want to get out there and see this Rangers team when you get a chance.
Another thing to mention too, when we were watching Seager today, 200. This was his 30th of his career, and if there's a month left of the season, he hit 10 home runs in August. It's really not out of the question for him to hit 10 more and join 40 Club this season.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
Could be possible. So if you want to be on a little Seager tracker to the big 4-0, we'll do it with you.
Yeah, we'll be watching. No doubt about that. We'll be keeping you up to date. And we want you to be here every day. We're going to be here on game days with a pregame and a postgame on the last game of every series, and we're going to be here every other day with a regular 1-hour podcast to keep you up to date on all things Rangers. We want you to subscribe. We want you to like us. We like you already, and we want you to tell your friends about us too, and tell them to check all of our sports teams out here at DLLS Sports. We've got, as Abby mentioned, Cowboys and Stars and Mavericks and Rangers.
And Rangers Rangers are undefeated when we cover them, guys.
How about
That's
that?
right. We're off to a
So-
3-0 start, guys.
We're off to
All
a
right.
great
High
start.
fives,
I
everyone.
think we're the key. We've got
Yes.
we need a little raise, right? I mean, the
We're
team
getting free
should-
sunglasses. Hold your
Yeah.
horses.
Okay, we'll take that. All right, we'll take that. So thank you very much for being here with us today. Rangers beat the White Sox 2-1. They are now 7-0 against the White Sox this season. The season series is over. They're
This is
headed
sweet.
home. We're undefeated. Let's see if we can keep the Rangers undefeated. We'll see you next time here on DLLS Rangers Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.